Hi, this is Ellen at Rent Roll Starter. Today I want to share a little bit of a secret with you. It's something that not everybody knows about me and about the way I used to run my business when I owned my rent roll. The secret is, for the entire time I owned my rent roll, I didn't have an office. So I was a completely mobile office. Or probably more accurately, a virtual office is probably what I'd say we had. So I wanted to share a little bit of information about how I did this, how I ran my business virtually. The way technology is going these days, an office is not something that's absolutely essential, and we're seeing it more and more in the real estate industry, and we're certainly seeing it more and more in other industries as well, where people are working from home or from shared office space or from cafes or from the park or the beach or wherever. It's certainly the way technology has progressed. It's allowed us to just work from anywhere, because Wi-Fi is so readily available. In fact, where I live at the beach on the Gold Coast, and the beach here at Coolangatta has Wi-Fi access, so you can quite literally be at the beach and accessing Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi is readily available. We all work from mobiles now. I hardly know anyone who has a home number these days, and even office phone numbers are less common, or quite often office phone numbers are VoIP numbers that are virtual in lots of ways as well. So over the next few videos I want to share some of the information with you about how I managed to run an office without having an office. So I think the first thing you need to look at doing is getting your website really amazing. So having a website is absolutely essential. You can't really run your business without a website. Your website is really your virtual shop front. So rather than people walking in the front doors of your shop, they access you and your office via your website, and that tells them an awful lot about you and your business. So I would suggest get an amazing designer, make sure that your website is really user-friendly, that it's really easy for people to find their way around. Make sure that it's mobile responsive, so that just means that regardless of what screen size you're on, so if you're on a big computer size or whether you're all the way down in a little smartphone size, you just want to make sure your website adjusts so that it's really user-friendly depending on what size screen people are looking at, and that's really important for your search engine ranking as well, because Google doesn't like websites that are not responsive in that way. So I would make sure that your website is really professional, really user-friendly, but also, especially when you're first starting out, you can use your website to create the perception of your office being much larger than it is. So for me, when I first started out and it was just me on my own, I actually didn't have a team section. So you know how quite often you can click on the About Us page of a website and you can look at the team? When I first started out, I actually didn't do that because I was the only person on my team, and I didn't want to promote that. I wanted people to have the perception of my agency being a little bit bigger than it actually was. Even though I wanted to maintain that personal connection with people, I didn't want people to think that I was a one-man band, which is the way we all start generally. We usually start out just as a one-man band before your business grows and you add more people to your team. So that's my first tip. Work on your website, make sure that's amazing, and you can use your website to be highly interactive with your clients. You can use your website to give your landlords and your tenants access to their statements and their ledgers using your property management software. You can use your website to allow tenants to report maintenance. You can use your website as an educational tool as well. So you might record videos like this one, explaining some information to your landlords or to your tenants, and you can include that on your website, so that your website's a great place for people to learn about your office, your team, your services, and also to be really well educated. So even if they're not clients of yours at the time, having a great website means that they'll spend a little bit of time on the website and be able to learn from you, and as they learn from you, they'll assume that you are the expert in your field, and they'll want to work with the expert. Let's face it, we all want, if we're going to have somebody manage our several $100,000 asset or $1 million asset, we want someone who's an expert, who knows what they're talking about. So having useful information on your website is really valuable. So that's my first tip for you. I'm going to share some other tips with you in future videos, but the first one I would suggest, and it's the first one that I did in my business, is get your website up and running so that people can access it, learn about you, and it gives the perception of a larger, more established agency, even if you're only a couple of weeks old. And we just want to create some comfort and confidence for clients working with us so that they feel that you're established enough to be a reliable property manager for them. So that's the first step. It's a really simple one. Get your website up and running, get it functional, and use that as your shop front even when you don't have a shop front. If you've got any questions about this, how I did it, or anything else in relation to starting a rent roll, feel free to drop me a line. You can find us at rentrollstarter.com.au, and I'd be really happy to help you out. My name's Ellen, I'm from Rent Roll Starter, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye!